to do that, but I know that this right here is going to be big. And so, and I think every one of you listening today will think the exact same thing as you hear this, because man, it just gripped me, the power of the message. And so let's just jump right into it this morning. I want to one more time thank you for joining us on this Saturday morning. And when I saw this quote, I was just blown away. As you can see at the bottom, Thomas Edison, 1931, he said, "We're like tenant farmers chopping down the fence around our house for fuel when we should be using nature's inexhaustible sources of energy. Sun, wind, and tide. I'd put my money on the sun and solar energy. What a source of power. I hope we don't have to wait until oil and coal run out before we tackle that." Again, man, what a setup for what is happening today. Let's take a look a little bit at the solar trends. Here is from Investors Business Daily. You can see the title there, and it shows the dramatic decrease in cost of applying solar energy and taking advantage of that. Look at that. What a turn in our favor. And then this graph shows the new electric generation capacity. As you can see, 74% of it coming from solar energy. And then, as you can see here, this, by the way, this particular graph comes from, this was in the Shell oil annual report. And when you look at this, you say, hang on, gang, 1 second here. I'm going to do one little thing. There we go. I'm muted a couple lines there. You can see that what they're projecting by 2100. Now that is a few years down the road, but look at this is Shell Oil. Okay, this is not some solar energy company. This is Shell Oil. They say 37%, call it 40% of our power will be coming from solar year 2100. Now check this out. Read that bottom bar graph right there. While solar electricity creation costs are descending to meet the cost of traditional fossil fuels, solar still represents less than 1% of U.S. consumption. Again, look at the little graphic up there. The far right would be where solar would fall right there. Now look what's projected to happen in the next 35 years. We call that a clue, gang. And by the way, this is the Rocky Mountain Institute that predicts over 40% of electricity in the U.S. will come from either coal, wind, or solar. Okay, a surging industry. I want you to notice the date on this. This was yesterday. The president of the United States yesterday was in Utah, made a big announcement. And what they said was this. They said that they're doing a training thing. The feds are doing a big training deal. It's going to focus a lot on veterans. 75,000 new jobs to be trained by the year 2020. This industry, solar industry, already employs 174,000 workers across the U.S. And I thought this was very, very interesting. They did a Gallup poll just a couple years back, and then a new one. And it shows that 91% of Americans want to see more emphasis on solar energy as it is more favorable than other sources and renewables. 91% of the population wants the world to focus on solar versus other sources. You think we got something going here. You know, success, the ability to identify and capitalize on opportunity. You know, Scott, there's been 2 or 3 times in my career where I found myself very much at the right place at the right time. And then I took massive action, and it always yielded significant incomes to my family. And it was substantial when I found myself there, and I find myself there again. You know, opportunity comes from 3 types of change. You've got technological and innovation types. You've got shift in industry and demands. And then you've got government regulations and things of that nature. We've really got a perfect storm coming right here. We've got all 3 of those coming together. You think about the technological and the industry changes and the regulatory things. And by regulatory, we're talking about the feds are giving a 30% federal tax incentive right now to homeowners that put solar on the roof. Now think about that. The federal government is willing to pay for 30% of your solar unit. Is that incredible or what? Here's one. Warren Buffett, at any given time, one of the 3 wealthiest men in the world, depending on what the market is. He's been number 1 frequently, but always in the top 3. He says energy deregulation will be one of the largest transfers of wealth in history. Let's talk about change that's happening now. Right now, solar is the next massive change that is disrupting the marketplace. Solar is the place to be. You know, if you take a look at the speed of money and what it has taken over the years to grasp major pieces of market share, and then the money that was made with that, as you can see by this graph right here, you know, if you just take a look, it's taking less and less time, and people are making more and more money. We've all seen some of the .com things that have just blown your mind. You know, a company, like I saw a deal the other day on Pinterest. The company is barely, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 years old, and it's worth $43 billion. Okay, and they've never charged anybody to log on and use their site. The old methods of selling, you know, you pretty much had a business, they went through middlemen to the consumer. The new methods are pretty much the company to the consumer. And with us, you know, we're using all the technological advantages plus a sales force, taking the power of referral marketing. And we've got a direct sales model that's a hybrid. We take advantage of it. So what do? Well, we do residential solar, as you can see on the left, and we do commercial, as you can see there on the right. Now, some of what we do, I'm not going to touch on every point here, but we've got, you know, very competitive pricing. We got worry-free production guarantee. We got 20-year bumper-to-bumper warranties. And all that you would want with a provider, we do provide. So what's the value proposition to our client? We go sit down with somebody. Let's hypothetically say you've got a friend named Jim, and maybe he's got a wife named Shannon, let's say. And you sit down with Jim and Shannon and you say, Jim, hey, we can save your family 20 to 50% each month on your electric bill. You know, basically right now. In 20 years, you're going to have free power for life. And the first 500 to 2,000 of power is free. Now, the reason I say 500 to 2,000 is it depends what state you live in. Most states are 500, but there are a few where it's 2,000. Zero out of pocket to you and your family. And you're going to get a 30% federal tax credit to help pay for your system. Is that not? Now, I want to tell you something, gang. I've been in the marketing business for 35 years. It was 35 years ago this month. I was a 19-year-old kid. I saw a concept that made a lot of sense, engaged massively, had some tremendous success. And I'll tell you right now, I've not had a real job since. You know, I've been in the sales and marketing and recruiting and building of sales teams ever since. And I've never had a value proposition that strong to offer to the consumer. Then on, you know, when you take a look also, there's another piece of this, that's real high level. But when you begin to look at it very closely, you know, it was Einstein that said the eighth wonder of the world is the magic of compound interest. Okay. And since 2000, the average utility has gone up 5% each year, compounded annually. Well, that eighth wonder of the world can work against you. Now, Einstein was really talking about you investing money and the way it would grow. But the reality is it can work in reverse too. So the average utility has gone up 5% each year, every year since the turn of the century. Well, here's what we're talking about doing. There's your rising utility cost right now. We're talking about fixing your cost. If you were to go down the road 10, 15, 20 years, that is a dramatic, substantial savings. Let me say it another way. What if you could back up 20 years and lock in your gasoline prices? Would that not have been a sweet deal? Absolutely. So now we sit down with the consumer, and what we do is we grab some information from them. We're going to get, you know, obviously the name, the address, the communication contacts. We want to know that they're employed or, you know, financially secure, so to speak. In other words, they can afford to pay for a system. And if it's all thumbs up from their end, like on that kind of a thing, and when I say pay for a system, it's basically they've got the ability to pay their bills because they're paying their bills right now, right? And it's zero out of pocket. But what happens is they're going to get a proposal like this, and we send that information off to our home office. We take a picture of the electric bill, and within 3 days, one of our whiz kids gets back to them. Now, ideally, we've got the marketing person on the phone at that time, but the consumer is going to see a proposal very much like this right here. And like in this example, you can see the consumer saved. They were paying $3,200 a year pre-solar, post-solar, $115. So we got almost 100%. You can't always get 100%. Sometimes because of the way their roof line is, sometimes because of the way the shade hits. various things, you can't always get 100%. And this one, I don't know what that is. That's probably about 98%. And so we saved them $3,100 a year. So what would happen then is the payment for their solar panels would be coming out of this $3,100 a year. Now, let me just emphasize something to you here. I want you to think about the automobile industry 1 second. How big would the automobile industry be if there was no financing? Well, it'd be a whole lot smaller, wouldn't it? How many new cars would be on the road if you had to pay cash? Not that many. So what we do, we show the consumer, say, look, here's your home. Here's what you've been doing. Okay. Here's the utilities you've been paying. Okay. And by the way, you've got a lifetime contract with your utility company, right? I mean, ever since I've been an adult, I've been paying an electric bill. Well, we show them how to take those dollars that they were paying for electricity. We generate the electricity for the most part for free. And then what we do is we take those payments, reduce the payments, and send that off to pay for the panels. It is a tremendous, tremendous thing. Now, if you look at this right down here, look at some of the savings. I'm not going to go into this, but you can see some of the savings that happen and the good you do for the industry. Now, let's go back to that same example. I'm sitting down with Jim and Shannon, hypothetically here, and Jim loves the proposal. Shannon loves the proposal, let's say. And then I say, Jim, we got a smoking deal. Our company is expanding rapidly, and we're going to offer to you $250 cash for every referral you give us that ends up installing solar. So would you like to have $1,000? Would you like to have $2,000? For everyone that you give us that installs solar, you're going to get a check for $250. Now, and by the way, if you give us 25, and let me go to my little scratch pad over here real quick. If you give us 25, let me show you what happens. It's pretty exciting. 25, you're going to get 250 for each one. So that's $6,250 right there. But in addition to that, there is a big bonus. And that bonus is a $200 credit for 20 years. That's another $48,000 credit if you give us 25 referrals that install. Now, that's a pretty incredible offer. I go back to what I said a minute ago. I've been in the marketing game for 35 years, and I have never had that kind of an offering I could give to somebody. When I show that to people, I say, how many referrals would you give me? They say, I'd hand you my cell phone, empty my contact list, take them all. Let's talk about how you get paid, the marketing person. I know we've got some people on this webinar this morning that probably are just listening from a consumer perspective. I know we've got others that are, and most, I'm sure, are listening from a perspective of marketing. What can we do? What kind of security? What kind of business can I create for me and my family? Well, it's pretty cool. You go out there and you sign up customers. It's free to the consumer. Remember that. And then your first 5 sales are training sales. And by training sales, here's the way it works. You're going to make $500 on each one. And so that's a total of $2,500 during your training phase. That's pretty good. However, we've got a strive for 5 type concept, first month challenge. Your first month in the business, if you complete all 5 of your training sales, you get a fast start bonus. And by the way we define first month is this. It's the partial plus 1. So wherever we are in the month, like right now, it's obviously early in the month, April. So what you would do is you would get the rest of April and then all of May. We call that your first month. So it's the partial plus 1. And if you do that, you're going to get a fast start bonus of $2,500. So a total of $5,000. I think that is absolutely significant. I tell all the guys that I personally bring on, I say, look, if you do what I tell you, everybody I work with makes $5,000 in their training phase. So then on top of that, you're going to make a $10 residual income for the next 20 years off of each customer. Now, as we go beyond that, let's take a look at it very quickly. Every one that you personally install, every one that you go out and sell yourself, you're going to make between on your first 1 to 9 every month, you're going to make $1,000. Now, let me back up real quick, and I want to reemphasize how much time did it take? If you don't spend a lot of time small talking and chit-chatting, okay, you need about 20 minutes, okay? So let's say you do 5. Well, 5 times $1,000 is $5,000. Okay. That's pretty significant, I would think, for the amount of effort that it goes into it. If you get 10 to 14, that's $1,250 each. 10 of those would be $12,500. If you go 15, as you can see, 15 in a month, you're going to get, by the way, 1,500 on all of them, all the way back to sale number 1. That would be $22,500. And you can see the next 2 steps up. And I want to emphasize something to you here real quick. I'm going to go back to my little scratch pad, because what is significant to me, Scotty and I were talking when we first talked about this. I said, Scott, look, here's one of the things that's absolutely amazing to me. You're going to get $2,000 on each one over 25. I mean, I know guys that take a week off work to clean the garage, or they have what they call a staycation, which means they stay home. Well, why not do a little staycation and go see everybody you know and go knock out 25 sales 1 month? Okay, 25, that's $50,000. That'd be a heck of a staycation. Okay, then what happens? That's the front end money. The residuals on that, you've got 25 customers. You're going to get $10 a month. That's $250 in a month. You're going to get 12 months of that. That's $3,000 a year. And if you recall, I said 20 years. Well, 20 years times 3,000, that's $60,000. I submit to you, gang, you've never seen a better part-time gig in America. You've never seen that. And by the way, remember, this is with nobody on your team. That's $110,000 for getting after it. And let's talk one more time. What you have to do? You had to get 25 programs installed. Now, will every single person qualify? No. Somebody's home is going to be, the angle of the roof is going to be the wrong thing. All the vents come out of the roof wrong. Somebody's going to have an old roof and they got to replace it. Somebody's not going to qualify for credit. So what if you had to see 50 to get 25, or maybe it's 35, or maybe it's 40, whatever it is, I don't know. But because everybody's different. But you get 25 installed, you make $50,000, the residual on that. I submit to you, gang, in 35 years, Randy, I've never seen anything like that, ever. And by the way, the thing I love about that, that's just you. That's just you. You don't have to have a team to win big here. Now, if you're a kind of guy or gal that wants to build a little team, most people, they say, you know what? If I was making that kind of money, I've got all kinds of people that'd be mad at me if I didn't tell them. Well, that's probably right. And so what we do, remember I said we've got a hybrid compensation plan. You get a 10% check match on the paycheck of every person that you personally introduced to the company. So let me just go back over here and let's just take a hypothetical. Now, this is in our little illustration. This is you right here. And I'm not going to take the time to draw little stick guys on every one of them. But let's say this guy, and ladies, I use that term guy generically. Okay? Let's say you got 5 people on your team. And let's say this dude up here makes 2 sales in a month. Okay? So he made $2,000. This guy right here says, you know what? I'm going to do a little more work than that first guy. I'm going to make $12,500. This next guy says, you know what? I like that $5,000 deal. I'm going to go make $5,000 a month. This guy here says, man, you guys are lazy. I'm making $50,000. And this guy right here, he says, I'm going to go do 15 in a month. And so he makes $22,500. Well, 10% of that, you got 200 here. You got 12,500 here. So that's 1,250. You got 500 check match there. On this dude, you made a $5,000 check match. And on this person right here, your check match was $2,250. Now, I didn't add this up ahead of time, but let's see. There's 4,500. There's 5,000. I think that's 10,200 just quickly off the top of my head. That is not a bad check match, gang. And what do you have? You got yourself plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buddies or 5 people you think would be good at this business. Let me give you another example. My son, Steven, who is he's got a great team building. Let me show you what his favorite example is. He says, look, if you went out and made 10 sales yourself in a month, you made $12,500. If you had 10 guys on your team that did the exact same thing and you're getting a 10% check match of them, well, if you had 10 that did that and you're getting 10%, you'd get another $12,500 in check match. Okay, so that right there is $25,000 a month in just front end money. And by the way, In a second here, I'm going to show you a little bit more on the residual. And the residual on that, you'd be $7,200 a month by the time you got to the 13th month. Okay, and that's a 20-year payout, $7,200 a month for 22 years, or 20 years, excuse me. So very, very substantial. I've never seen anything like this when it comes to income opportunity. Let's go to the next step. The residuals on this, as you can see, you get $10. Now, by the way, you've got to do just a little bit to qualify for this over here. Very insignificant. And but anybody listening to me could do that in a month or two or three or four. The qualifiers to get to over here. You're going to get $10 on your personals. You're going to get $5 on your first team, $5 residual on your what you might call second level people, and on your third level people, you're going to get another $5 per month. And so when you begin to look at that, you say, man, Steve, that's absolutely incredible. Yeah, you can do the math on it, and I won't take time to do it with you right now, but I have played with it, and it is substantial. Let me show you one more little scenario very, very quickly. That as I was playing with this, I wanted to know, what kind of possibilities were really there. And so I get myself my personal, then I go get people on my first level. They go get people that'd be second level, and they go get people that would be third level. And let's just pretend I got, let's say 10. Let's say I go get 10. Okay, I go get 10, and let's say they each go get 5, and let's say they each go get 2. Okay, that's simple. So I've got 10 people here. I've got 60 people here. 10 to get, no, that's 50 people. Total of 60 is what I really was doing in my head there. And they each go get 2. So that's 100. Okay, you see you got about 160 people in that example. If all you did, if you had 20 guys, 20 players that did 5 sales a month, 20 that do 5 sales, that's 100 sales, and you're getting $5 on each one of them. That's $500 a month residual stacking. 12 months later, you got a $6,000 per month residual that's guaranteed by them paying their power bill. Every adult I know has paid their power bill every month of their life and intend to do so. I've got the only game out. Unless you just go off the grid and go dark and live on candlelight, I've got the only way out as far as, relief from that power bill. And by showing people that, I'm making $6,000 a month after 12 months, basically a guaranteed residual for 20 years. And all I had was 20 people that wanted to make $5 grand a month. Once again, I've never seen anything like that, gang. That is very, very powerful from my perspective. Let's continue on very quickly here. We've also got some monthly bonuses that are, they smoke. You can earn up to $2,000 per month on a car bonus. And by the way, once again, I've seen companies that it takes you 17 years to get to something like that. I'm telling you, a person comes on board with modest talent and a little bit of effort, and they can get there easily in 3, 6 months, 12 months if they go slow. A home bonus, $2,000 a month, and a profit sharing. There's actually 3 pools here. You can have a percent of revenue on this one, percent of revenue here, and this is additive, by the way. And the projected totals there are $3,500 a month, and everybody in the company thinks that is below average. Some of that is a projection right now, but anyway, one of the other things that's happening, we're in the pioneering era. The first 5,000 people to make 1 sale are the pioneers. We've got many that have already qualified for that, many still available. The benefits, though, for being a pioneer are this. There is an exclusive pioneer bonus pool, which means a percent of revenue is going to go in there. And as the company revenues grow, as we expand the footprint across the United States and begin to blow some serious numbers out the door, that pool will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And once the first 5,000 identified, no one else gets in that pool ever. And then there's exclusive pioneer stock options, which are extremely beneficial. Do not have time to go in there right now, but that we believe can be substantial. And so as we summarize, let's take a look. What's the real summary takeaway from this today? You find a homeowner that has an electric bill. They must own the home. They can't be leasing the home. You get a homeowner that has an electric bill. They've got a credit score of about 650, 680 or higher. The customer's going to save significantly right up front. Free power in 20 years. The first 500 of their power is free. 0 out of pocket. They've got a 30% federal individual tax credit that comes into play to help pay for their system. And they got a free install and bumper-to-bumper warranty. Again, That is as powerful of a customer proposition as I have ever seen. Zero out of pocket to make all that happen. And then we're going to give them $250 for every person they refer to us who installs the product. From a business perspective, what's the summary look like? Well, you're going to make $1,000 to $2,000 on each sale once you get out of training. You're going to make $10 a month for your residuals for 20 years. 10% check match on everybody you bring to the table. $5 a month residual for 20 years on your team customers. You got a monthly car and home bonuses. There's profit sharing or revenue sharing pools, and then you've got an exclusive Pioneer bonus pool and an exclusive Pioneer stock options. And so what do you do now? Here's what you do now. You get back with the person who shared this with you and enroll today for $25. That's all it takes to get involved with our company is $25. You want to do that now. And then what you're going to start doing is you're going to earn money by helping others save money. It's one of the big, big deals. Many times I've seen people that say, hey, you know what? If you spend this, you can make this. That's not what we're talking about here. You're going to make money by helping others save money. And so what I want to do, I want to welcome you to the team. This is us. We were up in Sundance, Utah just recently with a lot of the team members. And I want to welcome you to Elevate. Gang, that is it for right now. We appreciate you joining us on this Saturday morning. And by the way, remember, this is Easter holiday. Please take time to celebrate that with your family and remember what that holiday and that season really is all about. It is something very, very special. That is it for right now. This webinar is officially over. Thank you for joining us.